I want you to take a moment and think back to the last time someone on your team came to you with a problem. And I'm talking like a real problem, okay? Deadline is Friday. 3 people have already tried to fix it. Your boss has sent you a Slack message that says, hey, can we hop on a quick call? And somehow you figure that all out. You figure it out every single time something like this happens, because that is the kind of woman that you are. You are the woman who actually reads the deck before the meeting, right? You are the woman who notices the little typo in the 3rd paragraph that nobody else caught before it goes to print. You even volunteer to take on a project that nobody else wants, because honestly, you can kind of already see how to make it work in your head before they're even finished thinking about it. And this experience, this life experience that you are living right now, this is not just an experience that you have at work. You are also likely the friend who plans all of the trips, the one who knows what to do when somebody's dog goes missing and everybody else is panicking in your group chat. You are that woman. You are her. You're the woman your sister calls, maybe even before she calls her own mom. Maybe even the dishwasher broke last Tuesday, and you know what you did? You found the part, you watched the YouTube video, you fixed it yourself on Sunday morning, which, by the way, is wild because who's really doing anything on a Sunday morning? Let's be real, okay? The reality is that you have built so much already for yourself. And this isn't just, I'm not talking frivolous things, okay? You have built your entire life around who you are. You've built a career, the career that you have right now with a great title, an amazing reputation, and a team that, if we're being really honest, would probably fall apart without you. You built your life. Maybe you even moved to a new city when you were 26 and not one single person in your life thought you were actually going to do it. And look, you did it. You have maybe even a really great relationship. You've put time and intention into the life that you have built. The life that from the outside you thought you wanted. And it looks really good. So the question then becomes, with all of that, with every single thing throughout your entire life you have built and figured out and finished and held together, why does the thing that you know deep down that you want more for yourself than anything, that building, that online business that you've been thinking about for what, like 2 years now, 3 years, why does that one thing feel like the impossible thing to do? You're probably frustrated, maybe irritated. Likely asking yourself, how is it possible that I am so capable everywhere else in my life except where it matters most to me right now, building something of my own? Today, we are talking about why smart corporate women just like you can't start the online businesses they actually want, even though they know they really want to. And it's not for the reason that you think. So hello and welcome back to the Right Hand Revolution. I am your host and mentor, Rebecca Morassutti. If you're new around here, I've been in the online business space for almost 13 years now, and I help incredibly brilliant, high-achieving corporate women just like you create lives of their own design as freedom-based virtual assistants. So if you are exactly that woman, you are in absolutely the right place. Let's get into it. So here's something that I have been noticing lately, and it's the reason that I wanted to create this episode today. I talk to women just like you all of the time, every single week. Women who run things, who hold things together, whose entire teams would absolutely fall apart if they didn't show up to work on Monday morning. And almost every single one of them tells me some version of the exact same sentence when we start talking about the online business that they want to build. They say something like, Rebecca, I just don't know where to start. And for the first little while when I heard that, I took it completely at face value. I would walk them through where to start. I would map it out. I'm a very tactical person. I would say, okay, here is step 1, step 2, step 3, and here's what your first 30 days running your business actually looks like. And do you know what would happen? Do you have a guess? Nothing. Absolutely nothing would happen. They would say, Rebecca, thank you so much. This is so helpful. I'm going to go think about it. I'm going to go try to do it. And then they would go back to their notes app, save another reel about starting an online business, screenshot a post, and a year later, they would book another call with me, and we would have the literal exact same conversation we had the year before. And in that moment, that's when it kind of came to me, right? They were not actually stuck on where to start. They were stuck somewhere else, but I didn't know. know where it was at the time. And that somewhere else is the real reason they couldn't start this online business that they so desperately wanted to build. This is what nobody talks about in this space. And this is what I want to walk you through today. Because there are four really specific things you need to have in a very specific order that every woman needs to build an online business that's actually hers. They are the 4 C's. And they sound simple, and you've probably heard of them before in maybe some other context, but the order they go in, the actual sequence, is very, very, very important. I'm talking commitment, courage, capability, and confidence. Every single woman who has built an online business of her own and actually finished it, right? Actually started and then built the business, ran those 4 in a very specific order. And every woman who is still circling her own dream in her mind, the one that's been thinking about this for years, is running through them in the wrong order. That is the whole reason that you cannot seem to start your business. Now stay with me, because I'm going to walk you through exactly what's going on and what you can start to do to get back on track here. Okay, so here's what's actually happening when you tell yourself you don't know where to start with this online business idea that you have. You are waiting to feel confident before you feel like you can commit to building it. You are trying to build your capacity before you have the courage to actually do the thing. You are looking for permission, evidence, proof, some kind of sign. Maybe a podcast episode that finally clicks in your mind, or a friend who tells you gotta do it. Or maybe it's just some right moment that you feel like might come in the next quarter or the next year when things slow down at work. Which, by the way, they're never going to. Okay? At this point, you're basically looking for anything in the universe that lets you step into this online business already knowing for sure it's going to work out. And honestly, I get it. I totally get it, because you are a thoughtful woman. You are careful. You research. You weigh the options. You read every single review. You make the spreadsheet. You ask 3 people you trust before you do anything that you feel like is even slightly risky. And that carefulness is part of how you got to where you are. It's part of what makes you so good at your job. It's part of why people trust you with those big projects. Being careful is intelligence. That carefulness is not a flaw. It's part of why you are so brilliant. But, and this is the part I really want you to hear, carefulness has a tipping point. There is a moment past a certain amount of researching online business ideas and saving online business reels and reading every online business article on the internet, where more research stops being carefulness. It stops being thoughtful, and it starts to become something else. It starts actually turning into avoidance. It's in a convincing outfit, but it's avoidance, okay? It looks responsible from the outside. It feels responsible from the inside. And the whole time, it's keeping you exactly where you are, in the same spot for years. Here's what's actually true about confidence and what I want you to really sit with. Okay? Confidence is not something you can manufacture before you start your business. You cannot read your way into it. You cannot research your way into it. You cannot save enough Instagram reels at 3 a.m. to suddenly wake up one day and feel ready to start an online business. Confidence is the receipt you get after you do the thing, not before. Which means if you are sitting around waiting to feel confident, like so many of us are, before you build this online business, you are waiting for a thing that structurally literally cannot happen yet. Same with capability. Capability gets built through the doing. You do not become capable of running an online business by reading about running an online business. And let me tell you, this is a trap I see a lot of smart corporate women fall into the most, okay? You become capable by running badly for the first month, slightly less badly for the second, and then pretty well by the 6th, okay? The reps are what build your capability in building your business. The capability does not arrive before that. Now, courage is also not a feeling, which is the thing I think nobody actually tells you, right? We wait for this courage to show up, but courage is what shows up the second you make a real commitment to building this business. It is the effect and not the cause. You do not have to find courage somewhere and then commit. You can't. You commit and then the courage shows up, because now you have to live with what you just decided. So if confidence comes after capability, and capability comes after courage, and courage comes after commitment, then there is only one thing in that whole chain that you can actually move first: the commitment. That is the only piece. That is the only one of the 4 that doesn't require any of the others to show up first. Everything else in that chain gets built from commitment. not before it, which means you are not stuck on starting your online business because you are not ready. You are stuck because you are running this whole order backwards. You are trying to start with the last thing first and then sitting there wondering why you can't get past go. This is a concept from one of my favorite books on building businesses. 10x is easier than 2x. I would highly recommend that you look it up. These 4 C's are the foundation of every single successful business, and we're going to talk about how they apply to you today. All right, now before we go any further, I want to do something a little different with you today, okay? Ready to have some fun? Because right now, you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, Rebecca, I hear you. Wow, the order is backwards, but which C am I actually stuck on? It's one thing to hear it in theory, and it's a completely different thing to know which one is the one that you are stuck on. So today, we are going to figure it out together. Okay, so grab a piece of paper or open your notes app or the back of an envelope, or if you've got really good memory, okay, whatever you've got near you, I'm going to ask you 4 really quick questions. And for each one, I want you to give yourself a number between 1 and 5. 1 means almost never or not at all, okay? And 5 means absolutely yes all the time. So I want you to give 1 number for each question. Then at the end, you're going to add up all 4 numbers, and that total is going to tell you exactly what C you are stuck on. All right, ready? I'm ready to have fun, okay? Let's do this. All right, question 1. How often have you actually worked on this online business in the last 6 months? I want you to be really honest with yourself here. Not how often you've thought about it, or you've researched it, or you've saved a reel about it, or talked with your best friend over wine about your business idea. I'm talking about how often did you actually do something that moved the business forward. So give yourself a number between 1 and 5. Remember, 1 means never or almost never, 2 means a handful of times, 3 means about once a month, 4 means about once a week, 5 means almost every single day. Be honest with yourself. Whichever one feels true to you, write that number down, but I want you to be honest about it. That's the only way you're going to make progress here, okay? Now, question 2. When you do work on your business, how much of your time goes to actually talking to humans who could pay you versus researching, planning, list making, course buying, website building, niche picking, all of the prep stuff that we don't need, all that business illusion? Give yourself a number between 1 and 5. 1 means none of my time goes to actual conversations with potential clients. 5 means most of my time goes to real conversations with humans. Okay, so 1 to 5. No judgment. Just honest. We're trying to be honest here, okay? We're trying to be really honest. Write that number down. Question number 3. Do the people closest to you know that you want to build this online business? Your partner, your best friend, your sister, your mom, the people who would actually notice if your life changed in a meaningful way. Have you actually verbally told them? Or is this still mostly something that lives in your own head? Give yourself a number between 1 and 5. 1 means nobody knows. This is private. 3 means a few people. 5 means everyone in your life knows you haven't stopped talking about it. Write that number down. All right, question 4. When you imagine actually starting, telling someone, taking the first real step, how strong is the fear of starting? That voice that says, who am I to do this? What if it doesn't work? What if everyone sees me fail? That voice, okay? Give yourself a number between 1 and 5. 1 means I don't really feel it. 3 means it's there, but I can sort of move past it. 5 means it stops me cold every single time. Write that number down. And now I want you to add up your 4 numbers. So your total is going to be somewhere between 4 and 20, okay? Add it up quick. You can pause this. All right, now let me tell you what your number means. If you scored 4 to 7, you are stuck on commitment. All right. And what that means is that the decision hasn't actually been made yet. It feels like it has because you think about this business all the time. You talk about it in your head. You imagine the life it would give you, but thinking about something is not the same as deciding to do it. Commitment is that line in the sand. It's the moment where you stop asking yourself, whether you're going to build this online business, and you start asking yourself how. You have not crossed that line yet, which is the reason none of the other stuff has been able to come up for you, right? Nothing will show up until commitment does first. If you scored 8 till 11, you are stuck on courage, all right? Now, what does that actually look like? You feel like you know what to do. You probably already know maybe even what your next move is. Maybe you've even drafted a message or written an email. You've opened up a tab, you have a doc going where you're gonna do the thing. The decision has been made internally. You know that you want to build this, but the actual doing has not happened yet. And that gap is not a knowledge gap. I want you to hear this. The gap is not more learning. The gap is that very small specific thing of pressing send or making the call or of telling somebody out loud that you're building this and you would love their help. That is courage. And this is something that we wait for a feeling of, but it's only something that comes when we take action. Okay. Now, if you scored 12 to 15, you are stuck on capability. And this is one of the patterns I see most often, especially in really, really, really smart corporate women. You are working, girl. Okay. You are working really hard on this online business, but the work that you are doing is the work that prepares you to do the actual work, right? The research, all the infrastructure, onboarding, all the back-end stuff, websites, niches, learning more so you can eventually feel ready to start. And capability has become a place where you are actually hiding in. It looks productive, it feels productive, but it's not actually moving you any closer to a paying client. It's just moving you sideways. And you can do that, by the way, forever, right? You can do that forever, but you're never going to move. If you scored 16 to 20, you are stuck on confidence. And what's happening here is that you've maybe built the foundation. You know what you're doing. Maybe even the capability is there. That decision was made a long time ago. The people in your life know, but somewhere along the way, you started waiting for the version of yourself that would feel ready, right? To get to that next level. Somebody who might not have any fear, the one that would just walk into their business and just know what to do. And here's the thing, that woman is not coming. Confidence is the receipt that you get after you do the scary thing, not before. So the fact that you don't feel confident yet isn't evidence that you are not ready or that you can't do this. It's evidence that you haven't done enough reps yet to have earned the feeling of confidence. Okay, so you've got your number, all right? You've got your C, and I want you to remember that. I want you to write it down because what I'm going to walk you through next is going to show you where you actually are and what you need to do next. Okay, so let's walk through what the right order actually looks like when you are building an online business. So the first thing is commitment. Commitment comes first. And I want to be really clear about what I mean by commitment because this word gets thrown around a lot and I think it loses a lot of its meaning when we use it the way that most people use it. Commitment is not a feeling. It's not you having a lot of motivation. It's not the day you wake up and finally feel ready to start your business. Commitment is a decision you make in advance about who you're going to be on the days you don't feel like it. This is a line in the sand. It's the moment you stop asking yourself whether you're going to do the thing and you start asking yourself, how am I going to do it? That is the commitment. That is what commitment looks like in your business. Now, courage comes second. And courage is a much smaller thing than I think we make it out in our heads to be. Courage is actually doing the thing, right? Sending the message that you've been drafting for 2 weeks. Courage is that slightly awkward conversation where you tell somebody about, the fact that you've started your business. Courage shows up like with the email that you've already written that's just been sitting there in your drafts folder. Courage is doing the slightly uncomfortable thing on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. because you said you would. Maybe you're responding to a client or emailing a potential client. Courage shows up the moment that you commit. Not before. It does not arrive by magic at the start to give you permission to actually do this thing. It arrives because you've already made the decision and now you have to live with the decision that you have made. The third thing is capability. Capability is the thing you actually build through the doing in the business. That awkward call that you actually get on, that builds the capability to get on a second call. The first time you write a proposal to a client, that's not really the best, but then the 10th time you get to write it, it's pretty good. Now, the third is capability. Capability is the thing you actually build through doing in the business. So the first awkward call that you have with a potential client is what builds that capability for the second call, right? The first time you write a proposal, it's probably bad. The 10th time you write it, it's going to be good. The first time you set your rate, it feels like an insane thing to even say out loud. The 20th time, it feels obvious. This is what capability is. It's doing the reps. It's doing the thing while not yet being good at the thing. And then one day, eventually being good at it. And confidence is fourth. Confidence, like I've said, is the receipt. It's what you walk away with after you've done all of the above, okay? It's the knowing that you can do this because you've actually already done it. You haven't been waiting to feel ready. So commitment, courage, capability, and confidence. It has to be in that order to be successful every single time. Now, I want to tell you about one of my students, all right? Recently, one of my students came to me and she had a decade plus of marketing and communications experience under her belt, which is wild. She had built multiple campaigns in her past corporate job, managed teams, written copy that went onto billboards. This was the woman who in her corporate life was unquestionably good at what she did. And she knew that she was good, all right? And when she decided that she wanted to build her own online business, she did exactly what a smart, thoughtful, careful woman does. She researched. She Googled how to start an online business. What's the best online business to start? She found the people who tell you that you need to pick a niche before you do anything else. So she spent 2 months trying to pick the perfect niche. She found the people who also tell you that you need a website. So she spent another month building the website. She found some people who, tell you that you need to get certified in 3 different software platforms. Of course, she signed up for all 3 courses. She found the people who tell you that you need to be on Instagram every single day. So she made an Instagram. She made the logo. She created her bio. She even created a cute little highlight reel thing at the top. And by the time she came to me, she had a really beautiful website, an amazing niche statement, 3 certifications, an Instagram account with like 41 followers on it, and 0 clients, okay? 0 clients, not a single one. Now, I want you to really look at what was actually going on there. That was a woman with 10 years of marketing experience doing capability work. She was building more capability on top of the capability she already had. She was stacking it, polishing it, perfecting it. And the whole time she was doing that, the actual decision, the actual commitment to be in conversation with real human beings about her online business wasn't happening, right? Because here is the thing. You do not get clients by having a nice website. You get clients by being in conversations with humans. And she was so deep in capability work, in the work of preparing to do the work, that she had not actually had a single real conversation with a single real human being about working with her. Capability had become the place where she was hiding. She felt comfortable in. It looked productive, it felt productive, and it was work, right? It was just the wrong work. It was the work that kept her safe from having to do the actual thing that she needed to do. So she joined the VA Accelerator and we threw that entire playbook out as we usually do. We dropped her niche. We literally shut down her website and we shut down her Instagram account. And we started getting her to have real conversations with real human beings. 20 days later, 20 days, she had 3 dream clients signed on retainer. Okay? And it was not because she became more capable. She was already capable. She had been capable for a freaking decade. She just stopped using capability as a delay tactic and started running the order in the right direction. She committed. Then she had the courage to actually have those conversations. Then she built the real capability in real life with humans that were paying her real money. All right. Now she runs her business from literally anywhere in the entire world. And it was not because she tried to get more qualified. She stopped the qualifying and started the doing. Now, I also want to tell you about another one of my students, okay? This woman found me a full 3 years before she joined the VA Accelerator. That is right, 3 years, ladies, okay? And in those years, she came to every single masterclass that I ran. She downloaded every free resource that I put out. She read every email. She watched all the YouTube videos, listened to the podcast, all the things. And she showed up for 3 years. Consistently, she showed up for 3 years. She also booked calls with me twice, and both times she canceled them. Now, here's what's really interesting about her. She actually had a project management background. She had been the woman at her company who ran the whole show. She had managed cross-functional teams, kept stakeholders happy, hit deadlines under absolutely impossible conditions. She was profoundly and undeniably capable. There was nothing about being organized or being competent or being good at her job that she needed to learn. She was not waiting to be capable. She was waiting to be confident. She was waiting for the day she would wake up and feel ready to build her business. She was waiting for the moment the fear would just go away on its own. She was waiting for the version of herself who would walk into the masterclass already feeling certain she's ready to do this instead of nervous. Already feeling like the kind of woman who builds an online business instead of the kind of woman who thinks about it and almost does. And ultimately, that day was never going to come for her because confidence does not arrive on its own, right? It arrives after you do that scary thing once, twice, 3 times, right? You do it again, you do it again. And one day you realize you're not actually scared of it anymore. But you cannot get to that day without first doing the scary thing while still being scared. There is no shortcut on this, all right? There is no version of this where you skip the scary part and go straight to feeling great about it, all right? 3 years of attending masterclasses with me was her waiting for confidence to show up first before she actually committed. And then one Tuesday, she did the thing that she had been thinking about for a very, very, very long time. She did not feel any more ready than she had felt the week before or the year before. She did not suddenly just feel different. She just made the decision. The commitment came first. Then she had the courage to actually show up to that call that she had already canceled twice, and then the capability that came from working with her very first client. And then her confidence came. She is now full-time in her business, working all the hours that she wants, and she takes any client that she wants. And the woman that she became in order to do all of that did not exist 3 years ago, okay? That woman got built through the doing. If she had waited for the confident version of herself to show up before she committed, she would still be waiting, probably with another year of saved masterclasses behind her, if we are being honest. I also went through this exact same thing when I started my virtual assistant business. And I want you to know that the reality of everything you're hearing here is exactly what I experienced too. I did not have a website. I did not have a niche. I did not have a brand. I had no Instagram following. I had not been featured on magazines or podcasts, no testimonials, no portfolio. I had none of that. I had never once done the thing I was about to ask somebody to actually pay me for. And it felt really, 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 really weird, okay? I felt like I was coming in with no experience. I had never run a business. I had never sent an invoice to somebody. I had never had a real client conversation in my life. I had absolutely nothing the online business world tells you that you need to have before you start, really. Now, what I did have was a decision, right? I made the commitment. And once I had decided, I had the courage to actually show up and try to get that first client. The capability came and the confidence came after that. But that took, ultimately, to get that confidence, it took years. That came after my, 3rd client, my 4th client. And by the time that the level of confidence I had been waiting for actually arrived for me, I had been running my VA business for a very long time, right? Because I had earned it. It was the receipt. It was not the entry ticket to my business. And that is the only reason I'm sitting here talking to you about this right now. It's not because I had it all figured out before I started. Absolutely not. It's because I decided before I had figured it out, and then I let the figuring out happen along the way as I built my business. So I want to ask you something, and I want you to think about it for a second, okay? Maybe even pause this episode and come back once you're done sort of thinking through it, okay? What is the thing you are postponing right now in your online business because you are waiting to feel more confident? What would you actually do this week, this month, this year, if you committed to your own life the way you commit to everything else in your life, the way you commit to the project at work that nobody else will take on, the way that you commit to, your friend who's going through a really hard time, the way that you commit to the family dinner on Sunday even when you are absolutely exhausted, the way that you commit to the deadline, the way that you commit to the thing that you said that you were going to do. You know how to commit. You do it every single day for other people all around you. Now, here's the last question I really want you to think about. What if you don't do this? What if another full year goes by and you are still right here in the same role, still saving posts, planning the slow, things will eventually calm down version of starting your online business? What does that year actually look like for you? because I'll tell you what it looks like in the most honest way that I know how to say it, all right? Realistically, it looks like another 12 months of your time feeling borrowed instead of owned. Your energy going to everyone else first, and whatever's left at the end of the day going to you. Another year of being almost ready, another year of telling yourself you'll really focus on yourself once things calm down. And things don't calm down, do they? They never have. They're not going to. It's another year of the friends with the more flexible lives, making you feel some kind of way every time they post their Tuesday afternoon. Another year of the field trip that you missed, the slow morning that you did not have, and the trip that you did not book. Another year where the painting or the singing or the running or just the rest, the thing you used to do before your life got to where it is now, stays on the sidelines of your life. That is what the cost actually is. It doesn't show up, in one dramatic moment. This is something that accumulates over time, right? While you're doing your research, while you're trying to feel ready. Making a decision is not impulsive. It's the most thoughtful thing you can actually do once you've already done the thinking. And you've already done the thinking, girl, okay? You have been doing the thinking for years now. At some point, the thinking stops being thoughtful and starts being a way of staying where you are. So what is actually going on here? You're not in some sort of phase or a quarter life crisis. This is not, you being indulgent or irresponsible. And this is absolutely not you starting over. You are a woman who has run, commitment, courage, capability, and confidence in the right order in every single other part of your life. All of those things that, you did, that nobody else thought that you could pull off, but you did. You have a track record, girl. You have a long one. And the only place you are running the order backwards is in that one place that you want, right? Building something of your own. And that is what matters most to you right now. And I'm going to say something that's a little bit more direct here because I think that you can take it, all right? This episode right now, this conversation that we are having is not for the woman who is hoping somebody is going to tell her that this path is going to be easy. It's absolutely not for the woman who is looking for a guarantee that everything is going to work out perfectly before she does anything. And it is not for the woman who wants to keep researching her online business idea for another year. This episode is for the woman who already knows that she wants to do this. She's not actually unsure about whether she wants to build something of her own. What she's unsure about is whether she has the permission to, whether she's allowed to, whether it's okay to want it this badly, whether she's the kind of woman who gets to actually have it. And I'm here to tell you that you are. You are exactly the kind of woman who gets to have it. And it's not because of some, external sign you're waiting for. It's because you've got the receipts. All right, the receipts I walked you through earlier in this episode. The team that you trained, the project that you rescued, the thing that you fixed on Sunday morning, the hundreds of small commitments you have already kept across your entire life. That is the evidence. And that is your qualification. You are not starting over. All you are doing is translating. Everything that you have already built becomes the foundation for the online business that you build next. None of it gets thrown away. None of it stops counting. All of that comes with you. This is where you stop being capable for everybody else, all right, and start being capable for yourself too. So here is what I want to leave you with today. There are a lot of different ways to actually build an online business that's your own. You could start, let's say, a coaching business. You could sell digital products. You could build an agency. You could be a consultant in your industry. There is no shortage of paths. I'm sure I know you've researched a lot of them, right? But here's the thing. After being in the online business space for almost 13 years now, I have watched a lot of businesses start and I have watched a lot of businesses fail. And what I know to be true, what I am absolutely certain of is this. Starting a virtual assistant business as a corporate woman is the most in demand, the smartest, and the fastest way to start something of your own. And the reason for that is so simple. You are just taking the skills that you already have. You literally do not need to learn anything new. You already know how to communicate professionally. You already know how to manage projects. You already know how to lead a team and hit a deadline, write the email, run the meeting, handle difficult client conversations. You've been doing it for a decade plus. You just need a path to actually build a business from those skills, which is exactly what I teach. The path that I built, the path that the women I just told you about built, the path that lets a woman like you actually start an online business of her own without starting completely from scratch, without inventing a brand new identity, without giving up the credibility you have spent the last decade building, without making content on Instagram all day or picking a niche before you've earned a single dollar, without a website. It is the version of building an online business that is actually built for somebody exactly like you. Not 22-year-old VA on Instagram who has never had a real career, okay? You, with a decade of experience, your team leadership, your professional reputation, all of it comes with you. All of it counts. All of it becomes part of what makes you so incredibly valuable. Now, I run a free masterclass about every other week called Kiss Your 9-to-5 Goodbye. And in it, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this path actually looks like. The clients, the pricing, the way it works, the way that I built my business, and the way that women in my program are building their business right now. And I want to be really clear about what this masterclass is, because I think most online events have probably trained you to expect the wrong kind of thing, all right? This is not where you're going to come to just learn more, okay? You have done plenty of learning. You do not need more information. It is where the decision actually gets made. It is where the thing that has been living in your notes app and in your mind for 2 years finally gets to walk out of your head and into the real world. The link to register is in the show notes below, okay? So I want you to remember, take your C with you. Whichever one came up for you in the quiz earlier, bring her with you, okay, to the masterclass, and let's actually get you moving on this. And if you have made it this far into this episode, you already know, okay? The next move is not more research. The next move is the decision. And with that, I will see you on the inside. I'm Rebecca Morassutti. This was the Right Hand Revolution, and I will catch you next time.